Greetings all, Selgris here from out of the Ross Court. It's been a long time since old Selgris has met with you and talked to you about anything. Well, today I'd like to talk about everyone's new favorite, Lolcow, the quartering. I'm going to take a different approach than a lot of people are taking to the quartering situation. See, a lot of people are analyzing it and seeing what the quartering did wrong, and he did many things wrong. But I'm going to, let us say, look at it more through an internet cultural lens. You see, now that the quartering has made himself into a lolcow, there really is no going back for him. It's kind of like in how in prison culture, you're not to be too graphic, but once you've been punked out, you're a punk forever. And that's like the quartering. Only unlike in prison culture, there's more of a choice here in this matter. But the quartering has unfortunately made the choice to become a lolcow. He's joined the ranks of people like Chris Chan, unfortunately, and now he'll never get that stink off him. That stank is on him forever. Like, even if he does apologize, if the Kino Casino boys want him to, it won't make a difference. Like, it'll stop the higher volume of harassment, but he'll never be taken seriously again. Jer is now a lolcow forever, and there's nothing he can do about it. Getting back to the prison punk analogy reminds me of something that I remember watching when I was a little younger, you know, relatively speaking for an eldritch entity, but when I was a bit younger, on the excellent HBO prison drama Oz, there was a character there, Peter Schibetta, who was a mobster. He got punked out. Then later, when he recovered from it, well, much as he could psychologically, and was released from the psych ward, he spoke with Reem Saeed, who was the leader of the Muslim faction, and he wanted to unite with him against the Aryans, who was their mutual enemy. And I'll never forget what Saeed said to him. He said, "Look," I'm paraphrasing here. He said, "Look," he said, "you were one of Edibizi's, that was the guy that punked him out, one of his punks. Edibizi was deceased by then. You're one of Edibizi's punks. As long as you're in Oz, you'll never be able to live that down, to like shake off that reputation. You'll always be a punk. You can try to erase it, you can try to ignore it, but you'll always be a punk. You know, just once it happens to you, it happens." And unfortunately, that's like internet culture with lolcow. Once you become a lolcow, you can never do anything about it. You have to accept your lot in life and be, and embrace it as much as you can. But for a guy like Jair, like the quartering, who has a very high ego, this is especially difficult for him to accept. And he's going to be like the Peter Schibetta character in Oz. He's going to continue to be self-destructive, trying to live down being a lolcow, but it's only going to make matters worse. The Schibetta character eventually got himself killed and also punked out again in the meantime before he was killed by one of his own, his own faction in the Italians, because he was a mobster on the other side, because he just couldn't accept his lot in life in the prison. And that's like Jer, with all the alleged false flagging and all the stupid things he has said, with the ball and things like that. He's only making matters worse, and how he's trying to fight back. Quote unquote, he can't, he has to accept it. He is a punk, and that's all he's ever going to be now. He's like a lolcow, the internet equivalency of a punk, to be more precise. That's all he's ever going to be. He can fight against it. He can, scream at the injustice, gnash his teeth and pull his hair, like, biblical reference, but it's not going to make any difference. The guy's a punk now forever. Culturally, he'll always be a lolcow. And everyone will always laugh at him and his antics, past and present. He will never be taken seriously again. He's going to be basically a glorified court gesture for the digital age. And he's got to accept that. If he doesn't accept it, it's going to make matters worse. That's all he's got to do. Like, he can't fight against it. Getting back to what I talked about Jer, like a guy with his ego, I don't think he can accept it because he has a tremendous ego. He's flexing, talking about his alleged connections with YouTube behind the scenes people, including the CEO at Rumble, and that further got him humiliated. He's doubling down on every bad piece of behavior he's done, past and present, that's coming out or has come out. He goes on the Twitter rants and then deletes them, allegedly drunk or high on some sort of substance. At least that's what lots of people think. But right or wrong, it doesn't matter now if they're correct. He's a locale, and he's always going to be a locale. He has been labeled as that, and he has made the label stick with his behavior. And to be honest, even if he hadn't done that, it would have been hard to get rid of the label of the locale because of the stuff he did. And once it's picked up, like once it's announced to the public by people like those that frequent Kiwi Farms, Kino Casino, or to a lesser degree Reddit, you're doomed. As simple as that, you're just doomed. Like if they said I was a locale, like this persona, I would embrace it because you just have to. You might be able to like live it down to a degree, and you can embrace the court gesture role, the digital age, but you're never going to be taken seriously again. But when you fight back, like Jared did, especially in the way he went about it, just giving him more ammunition. I mean, he can't change his lot in life. Like as Kareem Saeed said, I'm sorry, but you're a punk. And didn't use the term punk, but I'm cleaning it up a bit. You're a punk, Shabetta, and you're always going to, you're one of BC's punks, and you're always going to be a punk as long as you're an Oz. There's nothing you could ever do to change that. My advice to Jer would just be to, give the apology, like the Kino Casino people want him to, as humiliating as that might be, especially for someone with his ego, and then embrace being a locale. Doesn't have to be a bad life. You can still make plenty of money off it. I mean, look at like Lolcow Live and look at the stuff some of the people down there. But sure, they debase themselves, but a lot of comedians, have done slapstick and done humiliating things. To see yourself as a modern comedian, like, as I say, a digital court gesture, but raging against the machine, not going to help you, bud. You're felt it forever. Just the way it is. And don't try striking this video, Jer, unless you're thinking about it. I'm just giving my opinion. And to be more precisely, locales, I'm just stating a modern reality. You might hate it. You might think it's unfair. You might hate me for pointing it out, but it's a fact. It's something that can never be changed. It just is what it is. It's over for you, Jer. Like you'll never be taken seriously as a commentator again. It's the end. You have to accept that, man. And the more you fight against it, it's like quicksand. Once you're in it, the more you fight against it. Unless someone comes along to give you a helping hand, which doesn't apply in this sort of case, in this analogy. The more you fight against it, the quicker you're going to be sucked down. You're going to be pulled under. You're eventually going to drown. Your mouth is going to be full of crap. It's that sand and debris and water just flows right in, down your gullet and up your nostril. Like I say, the more you struggle, the quicker you'll go down. You just have to accept it, Jer. That's what you have to do. If you don't, well, things will get worse for you, and you might not even be able to benefit such as it is from monetizing it. Things will just continue to fall apart, and you become a complete pariah. You'll go beyond a locale to a pariah. And be basically people just keep harassing you nonstop until your life's far more miserable than it is now, and you'll have no choice but to leave the internet, especially for someone with such a big ego, in my opinion. That's what will happen. You have to end this, Jer. While you still can, embrace the milking. You just have to. You don't have another option at this point. It's over. Like this video basically is not only my opinion of the situation, but just pointing out how locale culture, how locales are made. And once you're labeled as such, especially if you then double down and make it worse, it becomes widespread knowledge throughout the digital landscape, you're doomed. You're typecast into that role forever. Nothing you can do about it. So on that lovely note, from Azeroth Court, have a wonderful day. All my followers. Bye-bye.